going to go with them. And he's muted his microphone, so I can't hear him, but he's arguing back against me right now. So
10% chance of rain.
10% chance of rain. Well, that's the weather for you.
All right, let's move into Rainbow Six.
That's the weather section done. Let's move into the Rainbow Six section. Yes, Gio, it is a very good honor that we have been bestowed upon our humble little studio here in Paris to bring the first major final for a region that yesterday definitely it just kind of hit everyone with this level of excitement, this level of new, fresh, and for me went beyond the expectations of what I was kind of hoping to see from them.
That's the really big thing that I think of when I think of how we expect these teams to do is we didn't know quite what to expect because there just hasn't been that much exposure for this region, and yet yesterday they really took us by surprise. So many exhilarating plays, so much excitement, so many different styles that we're not necessarily used to, and now we get these two best teams in the region on this essentially international stage. This is a major competition, and they get to show it off to actually fight out to see who really is the best.
The Pulse ban is a ban that for me is a bit of a particular target ban. Obviously we saw Pulse played very, very well in the hands of these teams, and I think for us obviously we're looking at this with the idea and the knowledge of, well, we don't know these guys as much as they know each other. There's no way for us to know these guys as much as we know each other, but we do know what we saw yesterday, and that was a huge amount of C4, and well, that was EX7 as well. And you got to realize, obviously, when you have a player of that confidence and that caliber, you want to take anything that you can, any spokes out of a wheel that seems seemingly unending in all the people it will run through.
Now, you mentioned X7 there. Obviously, one of the things that was touched upon on the desk is the fact that these two teams do have some really incredible gunners. We saw some incredible KD statistics. X7 alone, he had a +12, but then you look on the other side with Hasib with a +17 after the games that were played yesterday. You know you're going to expect something aggressive, something exciting. But someone, Fluke, who I really want to look out for is Poseidon. Kind of went a little bit under the radar from that perspective, but we did see him play on the mirror yesterday, which he's bringing out once again. And he had very, very quick reactions.
Easy R6S. Who's that?
What a lad. Is he observing this one? Is he not doing his job, or is it Medics?
Nod to the camera if it is you, Easy.
Oh, it's Medics. Oh, we just have Medics in our ear go, nah.
No. Medics is the one that's observing, so Easy is free to tweet. Otherwise, well, I'd be like, come on, Easy, get on with your job. That is one of the fantastic observers that you've seen giving us all of the just... It's been really top tier, the observing this event. Like, there's no... I've never felt like...
Did they pay you to say that?
In COVID-friendly high fives. Distance high fives that we have. But they're very good from both of them. So thank you, Easy. Thank you, Medics. Talking of Medics, let's get into this game. They're applying the pressure towards the drug lab to see if they can find anybody on the loose roam. And that, if you are unfamiliar with how the game worked yesterday, is how Union run their defense. They have EX7 playing off wide. Jittery seems to be their entry on their attack, but their defense tactics sometimes break down to, hey, EX7, go do killing.
Yeah, you can see he's actually already whipped out his gadget as the attackers start to come in through Cafe. And if he can catch one of them early on, this could be a good start for Union Gaming. We've spoken how good he has been at securing those kills. He is not someone you want to come face-to-face with on a roam like this.
Now it's the dance around the mirror windows. Obviously, Mirror is an operator that I commented yesterday. We've seen a huge player in this region. She's quite often banned in our region, and even when she's let through, teams practice and prep without her so much that they don't really bring and utilize her. Here, I don't think she was banned at all yesterday. She was a consistent pick. Every team seems to have angles and ideas, and Maker's going to start the first, taking care of your boy Poseidon, but Sparko gets revenge.
Well, there we go. Having Poseidon taken down, I mentioned he has those quick reactions behind the mirror window. Those won't be available anymore, but with Hasib joining him as well, that is a huge gunner on the side of MercenarieZ going down, but luckily, Me7 can pick up the flak as he takes down Sparko.
Now they're going to try and creep in, apply the pressure, and they've got all the verticality that they need. Looking towards the hatches, but they can't quite see EX7, who is playing below. This is one of the other trends we noticed. They're hyper-aggressive. They love to keep swinging on angles and swinging into the opponents, even when they're on just a small amount of health, or whether they're fully stocked from the blood bank. It makes no difference to their attitudes in terms of, I am going to take this fight, and I'm probably going to try my best to win it. Going to dance around the barrels and make sure they catch that drone out. Gives a bit of intel in terms of gun sounds, but they already knew they were close. Now it's just a matter of finding out how close.
EX7 obviously moved downstairs some time ago, so won't be any more roaming up on the top. Just hiding out in barrels for now as the attackers start to come in through the north side. We still do have Ninja Freak just sitting upstairs. He's going to start making his rotate down as the attackers do have to make their way towards the site with just over 20 seconds remaining.
Me7 might not know how close he is to the man on the other side of this wall, but he definitely knows roughly the location, and he's just going to wait, bait, hold the angle, and win the firefight. Hopes the audio from the Hibana and the pressure's going to force him round, and it does. Me7 gets a very important kill, but with only 10 seconds, Jittery and Beat are the two that lead everything back together, and the opening round does not fall to the withstand. It falls to the hands of Jittery.
MercenarieZ, who managed to take this map 7-0 yesterday, no longer will. Union Gaming, who haven't even come here before, at least not when we look at the South Asian Nationals, and that is how you know, Fluke, that it is going to be a game. The quick reactions from the players on the side, even after losing EX7 there, weakening them significantly, not fully being able to take advantage of those mirror windows either after their player was taken down, who would be situated behind. It's all about quick reactions in this region from what we saw yesterday, and it looks like that's going to be how things continue.
From the guys at Union, what I found out was this was the game that they were desperate for. You may be thinking, hey, why? Oh, it's only a little thing of being 2 maps up and 2 rounds away from taking the title last time and then having everything fall apart. Now, obviously, how that happened to them is internal struggles, conversations that I'm sure they have had many a time in the build-up to this, but this is where they've had their hearts set. This is what they've had their eyes locked on since they were knocked down into 2nd place. And they are desperate to reclaim that. The start here is one where you can tell in the same breath MercenarieZ want to reevaluate their power, reevaluate their control over this region, and just kind of put a line under that victory before and say, it may have been the first, but it is the first of many for us.
You can already tell that Union Gaming want to be taking this fairly aggressively as a defense as they planted that Vulcan shield right in the doorway of Cathay, preparing to defend here on Bunk and Daycare. So just they want to make it pretty hard for the attacking team to move in through the west side. And if they can hold their own, similarly to how they did last time, then this could be another round in their pockets. One thing you have to remember, Fluke, as you were touching on with the South Asian Nationals Grand Finals, is MercenarieZ had a bye round as the first round. So however much that applied to the game overall and their success still remains to be seen.
Mira yet again in this hyper-aggressive position, trying to pull any immediacy out of the entry from the hands of MercenarieZ, and when you've got other players like EX7 who are happy to take over the other side of the map and put pressure, well, generally anywhere they seem to feel like it, well, that's going to allow that Mira a little bit more leniency in how she can play. The C4 doesn't catch anybody, unfortunately. As I said at the beginning of this is a region that, well, they've had a pretty good track record with those, and at the same time missed quite a few. They seem every round to bring a couple, and every round they at least seem to get at least one on mark. Said the words at least too many times there.
You kind of
at least 3 too many times.
Well, with that mirror window being popped, that's going to force Poseidon out of position, but he still can hold the angle through another part of the wall as he shifts into waiting room. You've got one of the attackers who's trying to sneak on forward. There are the ADS there, but if you just lean in with the gunshots, then unfortunately those active defense systems aren't going to stop the swing in of bullets. Is he going to be able to hold up? Yes, as he brings down Ninja Freak. That's the diffuser down. That's going to be something that MercenarieZ have to deal with, and they do, but losing one more player in the process.
There's the trade, there's the pickup, and there's one of the things we complimented them quite a lot yesterday. They were able to get into these situations where they would trade and swing the momentum back into their favor. This Maker finds his 3rd, looks for the 4th, but can't quite catch it. Jittery locks off 2 of his own, and now we find ourselves in a 1 versus 1. Hasib, massive game yesterday, but it ends with an unfortunate manner through the door.
Ends with a bit of a bang as he backs up straight into the Capcan booby trap, something that you love to see, or at least I love to see. I was thinking 2 of the big gunners of the teams left in a 1v1. This is going to come down to the wire, but actually it just came down to the door frame. Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's like you see 2 epic warriors and they're about to have a massive battle and they're perched dangerously close to a cliff. And then they're circling around, and then one of them looks away and looks back, and the other one's fallen off the cliff. And it's a little bit of a, oh, but at the same time, it's the second round of a best of 5.
They've got time.
We got a long, long day ahead of us in a good way. It's one of those things where obviously these teams already have a lot on the line. They've already played some pretty big highlight reel-worthy games yesterday, and now they're in a manner where, well, we've got a minimum of 3 maps on the go.
And obviously because they've played each other before, they know each other very well, very used to each other's playstyles. So we're expecting it to be relatively close. Even though the scoreline right now is, of course, swayed way towards Union's favor, we are still only 2 rounds in. And as you say correctly, Fluke, it is a best of 5. It looks here like Union Gaming are once again going to be going for something fairly similar as they head into their 3rd bomb site. It's going to be Initiation and Office, bringing very similar operators. They really like to play around this mirror.
That's a lot of C4s I see on the board there. For something where I said it before and I said the words, you know, sort of quite a lot. Well, 4 C4s in pocket. Now
C16.
Yeah, we hark back to the idea of... I've only just picked up what you did there.
Yeah.
You can't make those jokes to me because I'm not very clever. We only start to see now, obviously, how much that pulse ban is going to really impact that playstyle. Obviously, it was removed off the board by Union. They are, or was it by MercenarieZ even? So in Union's hands, it's, well, they're still going to play this C4 game. They're still going to bring this capability of blowing up every single floor possible. And again, it's a target ban, I think, from this region. These guys know each other. They know what Union wanted to do, and they're going to make sure that, well, they're still going to try it, but it's going to be a much tougher job.
Very much so. Straight away, seeing these peak holes tried to be made to prevent the push in from Cafe. Jittery can get that, and that's going to make it a lot easier. But of course, with the yellow hatch opening, he's not quite going to be able to get anything with that pre-placed C4, but he does have to watch out for those various angles. And one of the things, Fluke, I wanted to mention is Union Gaming on their defense, because they don't have that pulse available, they don't have much information, but the information is going to be sent in the form of bullets, as Jittery narrowly misses those shots.
Taha's going for the pinch around the back. They know where Jittery is, but they might not know about all the cover just to the right side and the opposite, deep on the corridor, top of the stairs. So they're actually going to pull back behind the arcade cabinet. There's a man on the long, and they get him, Sparko. The IGL goes down to Taha. Another player who had a very big showing yesterday and is going to find his first in the 3rd round. There's a bit of revenge from Hasib and Poseidon as they get 1 apiece as well. EX7 off the board. Unfortunately, not quite here just yet.
Continuing to move on, and there's still not a particularly extended hold. You have beat over in waiting room, which MercenarieZ will have to deal with, but it's mostly those defenders present on the site that are going to prove to be the issue. If Jittery can get this shot, which he's going to try and do, but he misses it, Hasib securing it for himself. And that means control of arcade will be taken, but not for long, as Poseidon guns him down.
Quick double and a pop through the wall means they don't actually lock it off. They see the edge of another, but are caught just by the swing of Maker there, locking them inside. Poseidon so low on health as the diffuser for the first time starts to go down towards the site. They need to try and regain some control. You can see Poseidon is looping around the backside, and now that's all that they've got, is this hope of blowing their way through. Pull some attention opposite. You can see Maverick is well aware of the game and refuses to play it. Maker shuts down Poseidon and gives themselves the first on the board.
Starting to bring things a little back in their favor as MercenarieZ secured themselves a number of those 1v1 gunfights that I think it's fair to say Union did not necessarily have to take. In a lot of cases, they peeked around doorways, they peeked through windows when they were, of course, in that defending position, holding onto the site. And the attackers, regardless of what happened, were still going to have to come to them. It made it unnecessary a lot of the losses that occurred there for Union Gaming. And if they can pull back the overzealous nature of their play, then maybe they'll be able to swing these next few rounds back into their favor.
Well, fortunately for the hands of Union, they're able to reopen their first defense and see if they can reassert themselves as the kings of this map as we head back to the throne room. Obviously, this came down to a little bit of a scratched push. Going through with less than 10 seconds on the board is in no way easy. They couldn't quite catch the angle on the left-hand side. It was a quick double for Jittery, but in the same breath, obviously, how much of that was those first-round jitters against Jittery? How much of that is them not quite being awake yet? Have they had their oats? Who knows? I guess time will tell.
Have you had your oats?
I'm always feeling my oats.
I don't want to know what you do with your oats.
Oh,
well, regardless, they've made a couple of changes here. Now, I mentioned how they weren't really bringing Intel operators. We spoke about how the Pulse has been banned out, but you're still not seeing things like a Maestro or a Valkyrie, who crucially is still on the board. However, this time you do have an Echo. The problem is mercenaries really like to play IQ, and that is something that they have been doing. So it could be that the plant denial and the yokai drones don't matter, but Hasib is not going to matter as he's gunned down there by X7 on that run out. He has taken a little bit of damage, but that's still a very early kill there onto the Zofia.
Hasib as well, again, a big player who hasn't quite been able to find their way in so far, but luckily for them, Maker's still on the board. A man who I believe has already gone, well, 6-2. Is going to be obviously a big force. The best KD out of everyone in this game so far, 3 rounds in, and in no way do they seem like they want to slow down. If I'm going to compliment the use of explosives on one side, the attack is obviously in no way short of that. They have been fantastic with frag grenades. They've been able to cook and push and pressure and make sure that the result for them is delicious, but in the same breath, EX7, well, they found their way through and they found their second.
Really, the way that Union Gaming have set up their defense here makes it so hard to push in through the east side of the map, because you have those mirror windows positioned not only on control room wall, but also on the office wall. It means that whichever direction you decide to go, there is always someone watching you. With the roam over on the west, it means that mercenaries always have someone to deal with, and it has been difficult so far. Going to be a disconnect there from Sparko, but even so, Union Gaming do continue to hold the man advantage, and it could be that they can still win this out.
Well, obviously a disconnect is in no way going to be something that helps them, but Sparko's at least back, so they can apply some support and help on those cams. Don't need to have a rehost, that means, but, well, Maker might need to have a rethink about how they want to enter that room. Easily dropped by Beat, who was just paying, oh, I don't know, a little bit of attention, and all it took was just a little. Me7 is going to try and apply the pressure from Cafe here, pushing against the opposite side as they still haven't got any control of vertical. Losing the body early on has seemed to really impact how they want to try and get this top control, and it has no way impacted what EX7 does. His third for the round, but he's not happy with that. He's going to make it 4.
And they spoke at the beginning about how Union Gaming are a very, very strong defensive team. And despite the fact they haven't been to this map before, they are proving that that title does still fit. The problem is mercenaries are just having such an issue with being able to deal with that roam that's being brought out by Union Gaming. That means despite the fact that they still had a minute on the board, which is plenty of time, they had no vertical control. They were still playing around on that top floor, nowhere near the site. They had to keep both of their last remaining players together because, I mean, if you're playing separately, you're really going to halve your opportunities to try and claw your way into any success. But you're running on such limited information, and that allows you to get caught out when those roamers are still on the field.
One less C4 this time. They're not going to go as...
Which is only 3 this time.
Only 3. 3 will do. The thing is that I commented on it yesterday, is we actually saw them play Valkyrie Shield quite a lot. They would opt for that in the strategy, and then kind of have other operators bring barbs, or a few proximity alarms did show face yesterday too. And I think it's one of the things where if we're talking about, obviously, how much these teams have developed and how much these teams have learned from other regions and the other more kind of famed and broadcast regions, these are teams that have learned heavily. They bring a lot of those standard loadouts. They'll bring the Valkyrie C4. They'll bring the old traditional of how they want to try and blow each other up.
Just the traditional way of how to blow one another up.
Exactly.
It does mean that this time they do have those black eyes available to them, which they didn't previously. And that could facilitate them being able to make runouts, not something that they are too shy of in this region from what we have seen so far. And it does look like that's what X7's going to be going for. Can he secure the second? No, he can't. Hasib guns him down, but he was able to bring down Maker. That is that really key hard breach in the form of the Maverick. Yes, you still have the Hibana. Jittery, he's going to be giving up before getting anything, but still a very aggressive start there from Union Gaming.
Now then, they're going to see if they can build themselves back. Obviously, I talked about how Hasib was the one that was spawn peaked last time, and this time it is a situation where they've lost Maker. The one guy who was bringing all the aggression to them has been taken off the board, but in the same breath, after they lost the opener last time from a spawn peak, everything slowed down. Hasib almost slowed down there too. Dropped before they can really find the firefight, is going to pull back round and get onto the balcony. This was a balcony of tragedy yesterday. A jump out secured a double as they were both locked on drones, and you would hope Mercenaries wouldn't fall for the same tricks.
Well, knowing that that mirror window was such an issue for them last time, they did go in for that aggressive attempt to get rid of it and pop the canister. That should give Mercenaries an opportunity to be able to move forward and not meet their demise on the balcony, like you mentioned happened yesterday. Seeps just looking out for these angles, and down goes that Capcan booby trap, something which did cause them so many problems previously, but it's actually going to be Jittery who is next taken down by Me7. Just finishing off the cameras and ensuring that they have their route in through. Mercenaries are actually on the upper hand with the man advantage.
Concern is the name of the game as they swing wildly and try and get every single door. Again, something I pointed out and something I very much enjoy from these guys is they can be so hyper-aggressive. And I think it's one of the comments that all of them made about their teams is we're aggressive teams. And I think it's more fair to say they're aggressive players. They seem fearless in these occasions and in some ways occasionally lucky, as we saw the man duck behind the box. The pings are coming and the man goes down through the wall but is saved by fantastic cover over the shoulder. The diffuser is still in no man's land, but it's just going to turn down to bloodshed. Hops through the hole to lock off Me7 and keep it in an isolated situation, leaving everything left to Hasib. The man who almost suffered at the very beginning is the only hope at the very end. He knows where one of them is roughly, but he's concerned the rotation came to his shoulder. Instead, he seems to have some solidity, but he gives away his close positioning. They know where he is. The default is still up 2. They just have to keep their crossfire, but one will do. Sparko finds Hasib.
Looking the wrong way in as soon as he walks in through the doorway, and it's really heartbreaking there, the fact that he got caught out when Mercenaries looked to be on the upper hand for quite a while in that round. And this is their map fluke, and suddenly we are 5 rounds in and 4 of them have gone the way to their opponent. They can't claw this round back in their favor. There is so much pressure and responsibility on them to pull it back in their defensive side. And for what we saw yesterday, Mercenaries really excelled on the attack.
Obviously, EX7 was on about 3 kills before the past 2 rounds, and then, well, since then has decided he wants to step it up. 2 kills even. So he got a 4K before, and then 1 this time round. A Frost in the hands of Jittery is the bait from a Caveira. That's not the most common scene 6th pick.
Not in professional play, it isn't.
Hey, I mean, the thing is, okay, about the argument of a Frost, if it was just a Frost pick that's a surprise Frost pick, you know, there's obviously the whole era of are they aware of how each other likes to play. We're looking at Drug Lab here. We're looking at a site that doesn't get too much open play, too much open run, and they're going to probably try and take them by surprise. Maybe bait the pace. Maybe say, look, just hop in. We have this mirror window. You get a bit of control. Maybe you think you're safe. And then that's where the traps spring. That's why it's a 6th pick. But in the same breath, this is in no way something that works multiple times. Or it's in no way something that should work multiple times. Because if it does, well, you really just got to check your windows.
The interesting thing that I always find about this site is you see so much of the utility invested very much on the site and in that bathroom there. You do actually see a Capcan on this site a number of times, which obviously Union Gaming have decided to bring, and very frequently you'll find him perched in the bathroom very close to the site as well. A lot of those booby traps around, and we have of course seen the frost mats placed in there, and that means that it's so hard to actually break into the site, which obviously sits very much on the edge, the periphery of the map, and you have to go through everything else as well. And fully expecting X7 to be EX7
EX7
to be on the roam as well. And that means there's going to be so much time that'll have to be spent by Mercenaries clearing everything out, which is something that they've struggled with so much so far.
I guess one of the things where I'm looking at why bring the Caveira to the Frost is I guess they want to bait, hey, we're going to be over here. We're going to be on the other side of a very big map. We're going to be doing Caveira things. La 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 la. Ha ha ha, you're in a Frost trap now. Look how this has turned the tables in the drug lab.
I'm sure that was their exact thought process.
That's what went through their minds.
In those exact words.
Yes.
And actually, looking at this, look, I mentioned how you often see the Kapkan situated in the bathroom downstairs by the site, but he's nowhere near there. And actually, he's nowhere near anything as he gets taken down very early by MercenarieZ. No longer going to be a part of that team, but it does mean that Mercenaries know that that roam was definitely in play.
Mira goes 2, and Maker finds Poseidon still on the board and able to do some damage. They've generally been locked in on this Maverick the whole time. It seems the surprise play hasn't been as surprising. Mercenaries have very quickly found the opening too, and now they're going to try and fire dead down. They should, for all intents and purposes, know exactly what dangers Frost has left facing them under all these windows, so they're just not going to play that game. They're going to go fishing through the ice holes of the floor and see if they can find a big one. Or, well, hopefully a big 3, actually, as all bodies are still close to the site. EX7 is the one that's playing just off the side. Hasn't quite found his way all the way, but Jittery goes bold and unfortunately goes home.
You can see Beat there attempting to get the refrag, but it's going to be X7 who actually manages to get a kill there for himself. Even so, just 2 members remaining there of Union Gaming, and they could be in trouble. Baker does get traded out there by EX7, but that does mean he's on his own moving in.
Frost trap, it catches one, and EX7 is there to lock off, but no, Hasib, the man Spawn Pete before, does a dance of, hey, I got you this time. Well, 4-2 is the split. 4-2 we find ourselves in, and that's not the worst position to be heading into your defense on Cafe. Obviously, we know they're a good team.
On Cafe?
On not Cafe. It's not a bad position to be.
I mean, there is a cafe in this
There
map.
is a cafe in this, and maybe they'll go close to the cafe site.
Well,
but it's not a bad thing, technically correct. It's not a bad position to be in on cafe. It's also not a bad position to be in
your information.
on theme park. I just thought I would throw some information about other maps down. It's not a bad place to be in on theme park either. Do you know what else is a really good place to be in? On the split, a 2.0 KD in the hands of EX7. However, when he got to his attacks, he didn't quite have the same effect.
No, when they played on Clubhouse yesterday, they really struggled, actually, and that's one of Union Gaming's maps, if not their map with a capital MTM, and he really struggled to get any kind of kill. I don't need your...
MTM?
Yeah, map with a capital M.
Okay.
TM, trademark.
Okay. I thought you were doing like Map Crush Monday. Like MCM, but like for maps.
I don't know what.
But I guess it would still be an MCM anyway. You wouldn't have to change the T.
What about Man Crush Monday?
Milosh is my man crush every day.
Milosh Crush Monday.
Milosh Crush Monday.
Really hard
Milosh
to
Crush
say.
Milosh. 4-2 is the split. And with so much talk of weather from Hap, it makes me feel like theme park is going to be a storm of its own.
Ooh!
I'm going to throw this down. At Stickula, at Captain Fluke. That's my quote now. Stolen. I made that up. I am Stickula.
5 seconds left.
Okay. All right, Stickula. Well, pleasure to be casting with you here in the studio.
I'm not really
for the first time.
I'm sorry, Stickula. I lied. That is all Sticulas.
Anyway, the point being is Union Gaming, or rather EX7 on Union Gaming, really struggle to get any kills when they're on the attack on Clubhouse, and now they're on the attack here on Theme Park. They've had a really successful first half, but Mercenaries could shut them down if they run into the same kind of problems. Now, straight away, you can see that Mercenaries are running a very different kind of defense, starting off on the downstairs site in Throne Room and Armory, and it looks like they're going to be going for a little bit more of that information gathering.
Yeah, and obviously this was a balcony of death, and I think it's always fair to say if we're going to talk about what EX7... What a pest. We can talk about the problems EX7 faced in the same way. when he was kind of switching over to his attack, Mercenaries had fantastic roamers too. Obviously, Maker, Hasib were able to be consistent problems for any of the opponents that they went up against. The defense for them was consistent, was aggressive, was in the same ways, just completely fluid across any factors and nooks and crannies of the map they decided to try and kill people in, and, well, it doesn't seem to be slowing. The C4 goes out, goes big, and there goes a man on the side of the building, but they at least get the trade. EX7 is there, able to find Maker and shut them down.
What I find really interesting here is that Union Gaming have opted to bring both the Jackal and the Dokkaebi. That's going to provide them a lot of information as to where the defenders are. But Jackal is an operator that Union Gaming have banned against Mercenaries in the past. And yesterday we did see them use him pretty effectively. They obviously opted not to bring him out on this map so far. And so if Union Gaming can get a lot of value out of him against Mercenaries, that could feel like almost a slap to the face. But we're yet to see if that is the case as they start to place the exothermic charge. But there is the mute jammer below. They got to get rid of. That's what they have done. And Ninja Freak won't be catching anyone as they all move out the way. Wall opened and ready to go.
I was thinking maybe he was doing that to get rid of the charge. It was a very expensive bit of utility trade, sure, but the frag grenade stopped him being able to get in and make sure the mute jammer could go down, or a second could be placed and he could try and stop the thermite charge. So he went guns blazing and then decides to go. It literally takes one, and Sparko gets another as Hasib unfortunately disconnects. Sparko's going to push onto that, find a second, and put themselves in a 1 versus 2 with Ninja finally ending the downed man. You're up against the Maverick and you're up against the Jackal. Well, the Jackal is the terrifying one, as we see in the bottom left. They know where you are, Ninja Freak, and they're coming.
Oh, Lord, they coming, and they are going to be able to take the round as well for themselves. And we said that Mercenaries really were going to have to deal with this half very, very strongly if they are hoping to take this map, as they're so far behind. And so far, it doesn't look like it's going in their favor. 5 rounds so far to Union Gaming. That leaves just a couple rounds what would you say? A couple of rounds space for them to actually play with before they take this map.
I mean, yes and no. I think one of the things that we keep seeing consistently...
Well, I mean, yes, because 5 plus 2 is 7, and they need 7 rounds.
Okay. Hey, one of the things we keep seeing happening is those big players that Big Man Des talked about from the hands of Mercenaries keep getting shut down. They're not having any impact or any effect that they're able to have so frequently and fervently yesterday. You look at players like Hasib, you look at players like Maker, they'll have these rounds that are synonymous with what we expect from them. They're able to get 2Ks, 3Ks, and then the entry death so many times. Okay, yeah, we're seeing them on their attacks first. We know EX7 is a beast of a defender, and he's a defender as well, as we see that as the game warms up, he finds more feeding. He finds more kind of places he can dig in and say, this is mine, and I'm going to kill from it. And then he just starts running out the building, because he doesn't just want the building, he wants everything. He wants to go to the carousel. He wants to see the other bits of theme park. What other things are out there in theme park?
Probably some roller coasters. There's the bumper cars.
Bumper cars. Love bumper cars.
I don't. The queues are always too long. But you make a really good point about the fact that they are being taken down very, very easily. I mean, Hasib yesterday, he ended the day with a 76% survival rating, which is almost unheard of. And straight away, it looks like that is not how things are going this way.
No. It's one of those things where obviously you've got to look at this as a best of 5. We're not just in...
It's almost as if it's a best of 5.
Yeah. We're not just in a long day, we're in a very long day. For us, for them, and last time they were here, it went all the way. It played every single map possible. There was an 8-6 at the turn of the kind of sweep as well, so it wasn't like it was close smash maps. It was intensity from start to end. This is a slow start for Mercenaries because of what we know they're capable of. But in the same breath, you're thinking, okay, well, we've still got a lot ahead of us. This was their map pick theme park. They were very good on it yesterday. But at the same breath, you've obviously got Clubhouse. You've got a big, heavy tactical map, and they are a heavy tactical team by their own definition.
Yeah, but like this was the thing that I was thinking is this was Mercenaries' map, and Clubhouse is not just Union's map, but it's really Union's map. They've had such a good history on this map in the past. And so the fact that that's what they're going to be going into straight afterwards does not fill me with hope for MercenarieZ.
Yeah. Production asked me if I can go lower in my seat, and I don't know if they meant higher, because I've noticed they've made you look quite tall.
Just go all the way down.
I can't go all the way down. I'm at the lowest. Did you want me to go higher? Production. Lower? Well, I can just go down.
Oh, that's
You want me to? Gio is actually 7 foot tall.
Oh, come on, I'm not.
No. Yeah, well, okay. Talking of, I can't go lower. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say this stuff on the broadcast, am I? It's supposed to just
breaking the fourth wall.
Breaking the fourth wall. This is what production is like. Hap. Now, 5-2 is where we're sitting at right now. It's very close to going all the way. And taking your first round on an attack on a map like Theme Park, it kind of dictates a bit of a tempo. Now, for me, Throne Room with the Thatcher off the board is one of the, if not the most solid site on the map in terms of defenders.
Yeah, it's very difficult because it relies so much on being able to get those walls open, particularly that control room wall. And you're obviously really likely to have a relatively strong anchor game present there. Even if you're playing some kind of roam, there's always going to be 1 or 2 players there who are going to be holding onto those angles that are really required. Because it's so hard to break into the site, usually you're only actually going to be able to get one of those walls open, and the player on the site is going to know exactly where you're coming in from. It makes it so difficult, and so much denial can be, you know, spent into those walls, making it so hard. And if you do have the roam game as well, good luck in even getting to that wall in the first place.
Yeah, it's one of those things where obviously we saw them get aggro in response, and I still believe that C4 was an attempt to get rid of the charge. And as we pop back into the game in just a second, literally just a second that time, probably less than a second actually, they were very fast. Well, you know, it shows a little bit of desperation of like, maybe we should have a plan B. Maybe we should have, oh, I don't know, a Kaid, which can have a bit more of a control of that wall if played. Obviously, you've still got to be very, very razor sharp with throwing those claws, with the way that they can be hidden in the location that we left Easy trying and struggling to find yesterday. Or was it medics that couldn't find them?
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
They're doing their best.
Medics is always trying his best.
But Easy's not.
Easy's too cool. He's like the coolest guy.
He has really soft leg hair.
Okay, I don't know that about his leg. What?
I don't know. Everyone's wearing shorts and stuff today. And
yeah.
It just looks like really baby hair. Milos looks really jealous that I said that Easy's leg hair was soft and his isn't.
Well, he's the bear of the studio. Or are you the white wolf?
I was the white wolf. Derry was the brown possum.
Brown possum.
What are you? You're the horse. You said you look like a horse.
I look like a horse. I would prefer a cat, but if you want to go with horse, I can't stop you.
A black cat.
Kind of has to be at this point, doesn't it?
It
I'm
really
unlucky.
does. Well, hopefully MercenarieZ will be able to find some luck, because God knows they're going to need it moving into the rest of this map, as they are so far behind in the round count. Obviously, Union Gaming have now moved on to the side that should, in theory, be less favorable for them, but they did take their first attacking round, so who knows. This is very aggressive positioning here from Maker, who's potentially looking for some early pick, but he's actually going to move on back as he realizes none such opportunity will be available.
Now, as they try and drop in, obviously we talked about EX7 not having the best time historically on his attacks. Being able to get a trade is a good start. We don't have anything beyond the 0, so I guess we'll get a truer taste of how well they're performing on this split. But in the same manner, obviously, when you're looking towards a guy who has such a skill on their defenses, you wonder, is it the break of confidence? Is it the break of the idea of here, they've got to be more proactive. They have to be pushing. They have to be taking more territory. On their defenses, it's EX7 can take any territory he wishes. He can go where he wants to, where the wind blows his intrepid soul, and try and steal the souls of others. He's got to be on point and on par. And unfortunately, with Maker being the same, jittery off the board, who is generally the tip of the spear, well, he's going to meet the same fate as his teammate. Maker getting a triple as he glides through another, but unfortunately Poseidon brings it down to only Poseidon now.
I mean, that was huge value that was taken there by Maker, who was forced out of position once the drone from Beat started to come in, because there were so many pests that were expended to that side of the map to prevent them. He was present in office. He had to move. Then there were soft walls that made it so much harder for him to be safe and still able to get that. But Poseidon's all on his own now, and he's going to be stunned out, just looking to see if he can find anyone. But it's going to be so difficult. Taha does fall to him, but he's still got 3 more players to go against.
Now with Poseidon on the Ash, sees the C4, throws a flash just to try and stop the swinging and the revenge, and an amazing turn onto the head of a man. And with 50 seconds left, there's still plenty of time. Doesn't see the body behind the chassis. It's whether they see them first. They know there's some motion, they know where each other is roughly, but more angles are going to be the play here for the man on the second story. One more charge is expended and expelled, and unfortunately, there's no students to kill.
Such a testament to the fortitude here of Poseidon that he's managed to allow himself to live this long. MercenarieZ definitely going to be on the hunt and ready and waiting for him. If he drops down the hatch, he could get caught out here by the yokai, but the flashes are going to come in. That does alert them to his position, but he manages to get the shot onto MercenarieZ. How did he do that? He had no right to get that shot. Now just Hasib, and MercenarieZ do win the round as Hasib manages to get that for himself. Poseidon living so long, but not able to clinch it out in the end.
Oh, imagine the Hassines as he was able to take care of that, get the ace on the drop down. But unfortunately, nothing quite works out the way we want to. 3 rounds under their belt now. They have one more that they can try and swing, and one more that they can bring, but it's bunk will be the next dance these two have.
It's a nice way of putting it.
Thank you.
It's a dance. It's certainly a dance of aggression and a lot of gunfire and a lot of death, but a dance.
I often describe things when it's really good as being a ballet of death.
What, just in general in life?
Just in general.
Oh, that meal was really good. It was a ballet of death. Thanks, sweetie. Thanks for cooking. I really enjoyed the ballet of death.
A ballet of, I mean, I don't really know a huge amount. I gestured at your straw earlier and said, oh, you have a metal spoon.
That's very true. Yeah, you shouldn't have admitted that on broadcast.
It's been a long morning.
I think that Union Gaming, despite the fact that they didn't secure themselves that round, will probably be feeling really good about it. They were so on the back foot. And nonetheless, Poseidon played it almost perfectly. He's a very opportunistic player and is able to make those very quick reactions when it comes to taking shots. And we saw a lot of that in that last round. Obviously, Hasib managed to secure the round. Managed to secure the round for MercenarieZ in the end, but it was shockingly close. Although I would say, regardless, MercenarieZ will be grateful to have yet another point on the board, as it means that they're not so far behind anymore. But even so, that will still be sending sweat dripping down the backs of the players for MercenarieZ.
Jittery was a great entry on the aggressive turns and the attacking half for Union yesterday. He was able to frequently get that opening body down, and here he hasn't quite had the same success. Obviously, the last round, he was the first off the board. And you kind of think, okay, well, where can they find some? Because to be fair, the Maverick seems to be a good entry for these two teams. Obviously, previously in the hands of Hasib quite a lot. And now, obviously, Maker even, and now picked up by Jittery and by a player who can be aggressive. EX7 on the Nook is probably the most interesting change here in the dynamic of what they want to bring, because it allows him in a way to play to the style that complemented him so frequently on his defenses. He can be a little bit more, I want to try and do this. I'm manipulating and being aggressive. That is my role. I'm taking them by surprise and messing up their information game. I guess it's down to how tight MercenarieZ comms are to respond to the invisible woman.
Well, straight away, the wall is going to start being opened by the Hibana. That's going to be held by Beat. Nothing to prevent that from happening, and Me7's going to be feeling the pressure as he starts to get stunned out and also get shot there. And that means the Union Gaming can begin to move on forward fairly unimpeded. It's going to be these anchors that they have to deal with later in the form of the smoke and potentially the lesion that's going to make it so much harder for them.
Now it's a long-range firefight on one side and a tight one on the other. Maker's trying to hold on to a big open breach as best as he can, but with the core and the corridor becoming its own, well, it's turning into a massive brawl along the entire lengths and widths that Theme Park offers on this second story. Beat has crept close, has the ability to try and apply some pressure, and EX7's doing the same thing. Maker dropped and removed. The Jaeger's off the board, but so is Maker himself. Taha finds Jittery, and Hasib finds one of his own. That's 2 more bodies off the board, and a 3 versus 3 yet again as another smoke canister pops off just to buy some time. As I said, the pressure seemingly is coming from every single angle and every single side, and everybody is suffering the weight of it. Disco dancing to safety, doesn't quite land it this time as he rolls, twirls, and dances. And now is just going to have to lie down, take a break, and wait to see if they can use his body as bait for the 2 remaining standing.
X7 can begin to move forward using the information that will have been provided there by Sparko as he finishes off Taha. He was unable to previously get the kill through the office vault, but working together means that they can secure that for themselves. Time is running out though, and they're going to have to secure these last few kills, but it is Hasib who's going to be getting them. EX7 does get one onto Ninja Freak, but is it going to be enough? You still have them standing, but not anymore! EX7 getting Hasib in the last millisecond of the round and securing that there for Union Gaming.
The shots missed heard around the world that echoed from the cores of Arcade. That is going to haunt that Legion for a long while. Yes, all they had to do was try and find some safety. All they had to do was press E and lean to the right behind the arcade cabinet. But instead, they opted to hold angle, hold aggression, and against a man like EX7, that does not play because he don't miss.
Evidently not. And if they go into another round where he don't miss, that is going to be the first map going over to Union Gaming as they find themselves on match point. And notice here how Mercenaries have straight away switched on over to that Valkyrie in the 6th pick so that they can have all that extra information on the positioning of the attackers who are providing such a threat, such a daunting, looming shadow over them as they move into this map. Don't forget, Fluke, that when they played in the grand finals of the South Asia Nationals, it was Mercenaries who took that series, and right now Union Gaming are looking to make mincemeat of them in return.
Well, they're returning to the idea of Nook. EX7 obviously has a huge round, and they want to obviously see if they can build upon this, see where else they can take it as they go back to Bunk. Last time they doubled down on a site, first time it went to Union, second it went to Mercenaries. They're trying to hope the same thing happens here on Bunk again. Obviously, they don't really have a choice now. It's match point. They're looking down the barrel of a gun that is at least 3 rounds long, and they're hoping the chambers are empty, because if they're still filled with the gun skill of EX7, or to be honest, any other members of Union that decide to bring themselves to this firefight, it's not going to look great for Mercenaries on this, their primary map pick.
And I have to say, it's massively risky of them to decide to return to the same site, which they just lost on. They have to win this round if they want to stay in this map. And they've just experienced a crushing defeat on the previous time they came here, yet they feel confident enough to return. Now, fair enough, it was such a tight clinch of a win there for Union Gaming, and maybe Mercenaries feel that they know what mistakes they made. They know that they shouldn't have been so overzealous, so overenthusiastic. It's going to be MercenarieZ here who's getting droned out early, and actually that's a really gut-wrenching loss there for Mercenaries as Hasib does disconnect from the game.
That is a terrible thing to happen, obviously, for any team, and it's the unfortunate side of the internet connection problems that are plaguing the region right now. Unfortunately, not even Weatherman Hap could predict these plays, or that MercenarieZ dropping people through a bullet hole, and, well, who else do you want to get off the board first than EX7, the force that he is? 7 by name and almost 7 players by nature. Maker finds 1 in the revenge against Jittery for his pickup. The smoke's off the board, a big use of utility we've seen them roll with, but Beat is going to find yet again the head of MercenarieZ. A 3 versus 2. The big problem is obviously Jackal still on the board. An operator we know Union Gaming love to kind of facilitate and apply pressure from range, because they know that Mercenaries, well, they like to be a little bit loose with their feet.
Yeah, but with an IQ not being played on the attack, you could potentially hope for Mercenaries that they still have information being fed in through the Black Eyes, assuming they're still on the board, but you can tell that there is a lack of information there, as Maker does get that kill onto Sparko. He and Taha have to work together here to bring down those last remaining 2 players of Union Gaming, and this is so close here. Looking straight in through the window, and he is going to get the shot there onto Poseidon. Now it's just Beat remaining, holding on to the diffuser and the Type 89. He's got all his X-Kairos in pocket, but is it going to be enough to be able to secure the round?
Bout cam goes, but that means, oh no, they know where you are. And they're going to try and shut down. With only 15 seconds on the board, diffuser in hand, the play's got to be bold, and it's got to be assured, and they don't even have themselves to sight now. The crossfire is what wins it out there. It's Taha. Aha, he beat you.
Aha! Mercenaries, they still stay in Theme Park for yet another round. Now, of course, match point still persists, but I think one of the things that we did see there was Union Gaming, they could taste and smell the victory just out of their reach. They went for it. They went a little bit too aggressively, and they lost too many players too early. If that hadn't have happened, if they'd have played it somewhat more cautiously, as if it were not a match point or a map point, I should say, wow, then maybe that would have worked out in their favor. Hasib's made it back into the game.
I know. I was like, should we sit down?
You know, isn't it crazy how on the round where he disconnected, Mercenaries won? Maybe he was a curse. We were saying how he's such a great player, he's getting all these kills, he's incredibly aggressive, he's got fantastic stats, but then Mercenaries still pulled it out. They had to do it for him. Do it for Hasib.
Do it for Hasib. 4 versus 5 in anyone's books is obviously a very impressive take, and it's a lot of hope that you can build yourself around. You can say, look, we've done it. We've done it one short. Obviously, it comes off the back of Maker not really having a huge amount of kind of play outside of this, and then, oh, he's just going to get a casual, I believe it was a 4K, that round. You know, and it's one of those hit-or-miss natures that I was hinting to before, is Maker is either the opening kill or has occasionally been the opening death. He's all or nothing, and I guess it's fair to say that about EX7 and Jittery. But
you never see Maker get just one kill at any one time.
No.
It's always multi-kills.
And I think that's the thing that's kind of been a bit slow for Mercenaries right now, is they just keep, unfortunately, losing that opening engagement. Things generally, the flip of the coin has been against them this time. But you have that swing the other way, and you could probably see some more of these rounds, obviously, going against them. It just seems like currently Union have been better at capitalizing upon it. Talking of the flip of the coin and the aggression, Maker is going to take some lessons out the books that have already been read this game and take the head off Poseidon.
It was something that he was looking to do on a previous round and ended up backing off when he couldn't secure anything, but obviously that very key opening engagement, huge there. Union Gaming do respond though with a kill onto Ninja Freak, as Sparko nearly gets some shots in on one of the defenders. Just 3 of them remaining now, and it's still very early in the game, Fluke.
Shoots their way through a door, and, well, they're troubled still. They're just going to rotate all the way back round and down and make sure they're back towards the site, and they have some solace, some safety, and some semblance of, okay, let's take a breath and rebuild. Obviously now they're a man down, and they're 1 round away from losing it out, but they're a man down last time, no fault of their own, and they still were able to pull things back. So this round is far from over for Mercenaries. 2 minutes on the board, gives a huge amount of time to Union, and the eyes on the Elysian almost caught them, but no! From underneath, Hasib drops Sparko and takes an F2 off the board.
I was going to say the exact same thing. Given that there's no mirror here, the shock drones aren't really going to be able to get any of those windows or anything like that, but the F2 being such a formidable weapon, certainly something that you would rather have not down and out. Well, you still do have the G8, I suppose, in the hands of EX7. We've seen what he can do with just any old weapon. A 3 versus 3, and just under half the round remaining. It's going to be very hard for them to deal with the walls, Fluke. As you mentioned earlier, when you come in towards this site, if you're not playing a Thatcher, they can be particularly difficult to deal with.
Well, the drones are still buzzing away. They know they want to get this wall open, and they're going to try and break open the top to get themselves the possibility of doing the frag grenades they did before. Maverick's actually just going to lie down, burn, and blow the jammer away. They know roughly where it was last time. They're going to trust it's in the same place this, and Maker is off on a deep row Maker run. You know, the kind of thing he likes to do, and the kind of thing, again, he's been feeling himself more confident on. In a similar way to EX7, who is about to butt heads with him, who's going to be paying more attention? This time, Maker is the one who catches the man off guard. And again, it's going to force them to apply more pressure, but that is not the best way to do it. Hasib just has to poke around the corner and gets an easy frag. Now it is only Beat left to try and lock out this round. A 3 versus 1 is almost instantly ended, and is by Maker doing Maker things.
And it just seems like Union Gaming was so close, and it's just now that Mercenaries are starting to find themselves. And they are not the only team that we have seen have problems like this, where you just need a few rounds to get yourself in the zone, get yourself in the game, and start to pull yourself together. I mentioned a few days ago, Cloud9 in APAC North quite infamously have that kind of issue, where sometimes they just need a little bit of a warm-up period of time before they can bring out the real shining star that is their playstyle. That looks like that's what's happening here with Mercenaries. It's going to be incredibly frustrating here for Union Gaming, because if they don't win this next round, then we head into overtime.
I sent a message into the WhatsApp group.
Oh, good. I'm glad that we're talking about this.
And I said, why did production want me to go down on the chair? Like, was it like a technical thing? Am I in the wrong place? And then Easy just goes, you'll see we're making memes.
I'm so glad they're working hard.
I complimented.
Is it about my height?
I don't know. I complimented the chat yesterday. Not the chat. I mean, I complimented the chat before, I guess. I complimented the social media team yesterday, because what they've been producing. The one of you and Derry running around the table, and then it turns to Hap. I cry with laughter.
That was really funny.
That was so fun.
I'm loving all the behind-the-scenes content we're getting, because there have been many tears that have been spilled in this studio.
Top-tier social media team, top-tier photographer / videographer. Just giving me a thumbs up. And
shout out to Sebastian.
Yep. And it's been such a whale of a time. Hey, Sticula's back. Oh, we just missed it.
I thought you were Sticula now.
that's being tweeting. No.
Oh, there you go. No, he's back.
He's back. See, head up, big dog. Time to run it back and win Theme Park.
Maybe he can.
Oh, not like that, though. What rotten timing that was.
Sticula, what did you do?
Sticula, what have you done? Oh, no.
But we did see Mercenaries win the round last time that Hasib did disconnect. So you never know. This could be their power-up moment. They need it if they want to send themselves into overtime. They're calling for a rehost here. I think they might have missed it by just a second.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the full term. We'll just have to wait and see what's played out. It's obviously the admin's decision. For now, we will just treat it as a live round. If only they had a weatherman, as we have Hap, to be able to get a read and a beat on how things are going to go. But unfortunately, weatherman Hap's skills, well, they're needed here in Paris. Looks like we're just playing on for now. Pings are coming in. It's probably too late to go for the rehost, as you said. It's an unfortunate time, but obviously it's one of those moments where you're on a comeback and things just play out against you. There's no real way to pull this before and against. Now they're trying to apply the pressure, though. They know they have the man advantage, and if there's a round for them to take it, this has to be it, Union. You've dropped 2 in a row. One of them that was a 5-4 before anyway. If you lose this and it goes to overtime, the sheer momentum that Mercenaries would have built up from being able to take 2 4v5s on Death's Door, well, that's something that you can really shake off. And they're going to lead it in the best possible way. Maker taking care of EX7.
Yeah, that's a huge loss there, but I'm particularly intrigued to see what Sparko is going to do on the Ying. This is an operator that Mercenaries have target banned against Union Gaming in the past, which leads me to believe it's almost like their secret hidden weapon that they know they can do. Going straight in for the plant. Actually, this is very, very quick here for these two teams who haven't had that, and he's not being stopped at all. Did he get caught out in time? No, he didn't, as the diffuser is now planted and Mercenaries have to deal with a post-plant situation.
Well, that was just stealth to a T there. Snuck in, read that there was no one there, went for it boldly. And, well, there's bold players And there's old players. There's no bold old players, though.
There's Ace.
Well, he hasn't played, has he?
No, well, I guess not.
And he's bald, not bold.
Yeah, well, in your accent, you can't really do
Bald and bold, as we find ourselves on the most reputable of stages, Geometric, on Twitter, but Geo is the real name.
Yeah, Geo's the real name, and EX7 is the real name of who I was calling X7, and he did fantastically there. Really great. Oh, look at Maker, though. 9 and 3.